So, hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel. Hope you all are doing well. So, as you know, we have started the channel on the subject that is software engineering. So, one by one, we have completed the different phases of the software development life cycle, starting with the requirement analysis. We have seen the how we are doing the requirement engineering for the particular software project we get from the clients, right? Once the requirements are properly captured, we are storing it in a document. The document called is a SRS document. Then the second phase was about the software designing, or we can say the software modeling. There is a different type of different type of design. We have seen that the component level design, user interface design, system design. We have seen the different types of design in the software modeling. And then once the software modeling is completed, then the next phase we have seen the implementation as well as the coding as well as the testing. Then the coding, we have seen the coding standards, different coding standards available. Then we have the uh, testing, the very much important phase of any software development life cycle. We have seen the different testing strategies available, right? Then we have the different types of testing, the unit testing, integration testing, system testing, regression testing, smoke testing, different types of testing we have. Yes, also we have now the one of the final stage of any software development life cycle. Let's say all the after completing the whole this phases, let's say once you have tested your particular software project properly, now it's time to so so the once let's say after the completion of all the different type of testing, let's say you are saying that your software is ready to deliver to your client. So what you are doing after completing all the phases, after the testing, you are delivering the product or a software to the client, deploying to the server or deploying to the client side. Okay, so this is the software development life cycle up till the software testing. Now the next phase comes into the picture, that is a software maintenance. So the word terms comes into the picture, maintenance. So you will be probably like looking at like that, this phase which will not be as much of as important. No, the the phase is in the any software development life cycle, so it is a really important software project. The maintenance is also the one of the important project. So let's move towards the slide. So the keeping or expenditure required to the keep an asset in a condition to perform efficiently in the service for which it is used. So maintenance, it is about, let's say once you are delivering a product to your client, so uh, it is now the, let's say you have fixed some amount that you will be developing a particular software, let's say into the $5,000. So once you develop a particular software into the $5,000, right? Now your client will pay you the maintenance amount. So to maintaining a particular software, yearly maintenance amount. So maintenance is like, let's say if any client is facing any issue onto the server side, accessing any software issue, if it is found any bugs or any problems, right? So it will be covered up into the maintenance. That is a server issue, some particular feature issue, that all these things are covered into the maintenance. So it should, any query on the mobile application side or onto the server side, so this all things cover into the maintenance. So the client will pay the amount, the maintenance amount per yearly to the company who has developed a particular software. So this is also very much important. So the modification of product after the delivery to correct its fault, to improve performance or other attributes, or to adapt a product to change the environment. So obviously whatsoever you have developed a particular software in the development environment, yes, you have properly followed all the software development life cycle. You have properly followed that, you have captured the requirement properly, you have implemented the requirement properly, yes. But ultimately when the software is going to use in the real time environment, so it might be possible that some change required in the particular requirement, some fault occurs in the live scenarios. So this all things matters a lot. So this all things are covered up into the maintenance phase, right? Yes. So the sixth purpose of the maintenance, the failure avoidance, we can say, the equipment reliability, least operating cost, defect elimination, maximum production, and the risk reduction. So these are the very much important phase of to covered up into the maintenance. This is why the maintenance is required. Yes. So now the different type of maintenance we have. Yes, you can see the finally requirement, design, implementation, verification, the final phases, that is a maintenance. So the 6 types of maintenance: corrective maintenance, adaptive maintenance, preventive maintenance, and the perfective maintenance. Okay. So the corrective maintenance, reactive modification of a software product performed after the delivery to the discovered problems. So let's say once you have delivered the product to your client, so if any bugs or if any failure found, so you are correcting their problems. This is, we can say, is a kind of a corrective maintenance you are doing for the particular software product, right? Then you have the adaptive maintenance, modification of a software product performed after the delivery to keep a software product usable in the change or the changing environment. Yes, as I told you, you have developed a software into your environment. Now the software is running into the different environment, more number of users. So it might be possible that it will require a change. So for that you are doing the adaptive type of maintenance. So this is a kind of thing we can say is be used into the adaptive maintenance, right? Yes. So example says the roadways, the website, etc. results continuously improving equipment maintenance department responsibilities, input to the equipment design, and minimize and eliminate the maintenance requirement. So this is a kind of thing. This is nothing but adaptive maintenance. Then we have the preventive maintenance, the modification of a software product after delivery to detect and correct latent fault in the software product before they become effective faults. Yes. So let's say once you have delivered the product to your client, now if any fault for it, if any latent or a minimum fault found into the particular software, so you are immediately correct it before it will like break the other functionality, or it will become the bigger fault into the future onwards, right? So this is a kind of, we can say, the preventive, like preventing a system failure, identifying the small issues, so it will not cause the bigger failure, right? Then we have the perfective maintenance, modification of a software product after delivery to improve the performance or a maintainability. Yes. So this is, now we are talking about the performance of a system. So modification you are doing after the delivery of the product to improve the performance of your product, or we can say the maintainability of your product. So for the example, software updates, and yes, you are using the Android and the iOS, you are getting the software updates. That is nothing but the perfective maintenance for the better UI, for the performance of your system. So software updates and the service packs and all this thing. So this is the kind of thing available into the perfective maintenance. Now let's comes into the maintenance process. So there are 6 software maintenance process which are as follows. The first is implementation process, contains software preparation and the transition activities such as the conception and the creation of the maintenance plan, the preparation for handling the problems and identified during the development, and the follow-up on the product configuration management. So it's a planning of the maintenance. Then the second, we have the problem and the modification analysis process. Let's say if any problem arises, so it's about analyzing the proper problem and identifying the real-time cause, and like for doing the proper documentation and planning to solve that particular problem. Then we have the process considering the implementation of the modification itself. Yes. The fourth one is the process acceptance of the modification by confirming the modification work with the individual who submitted the request. In the let's say once they send you the modification, you are checking that particular modification. Now the fourth phase is confirming the particular modification from the client or from the customer. Now the migration process, the fifth one is a migration process is exceptional and is not a part of a daily maintenance task. If the software must be reported to the another platform without any changes in functionality, this process will be used and the maintenance project team is likely to assign to this task. So migration process, let's say if you are doing some changes, so migration means the like whatsoever the data particular software, you are migrating the data to some other platform, so that data should not be altered, right? And the final sixth one is finally the last maintenance process, also an event which does not occur on the daily basis, is the retirement of the piece of a software. right? So these are the kind of, we can say, the software maintenance activities, right? So this was about the software maintenance. So in the latter, let's say we are further categorizing the software maintenance. So what exactly it is? The software maintenance is a process of changing a system after it has been delivered. So this is a more important term, after it has been delivered. Modifying a program after it has been put into use. Maintenance does not normally involve major changes. Changes are implemented by modifying the existing components or the existing code. So software breakdown causes. What are the causes of the software breakdown? Basic condition neglected, inadequate skills, operating standards not followed, deterioration unchecked, and the inherent design weakness. So these are the faults. This is why the software breakdowns. Now you will be asking, what exactly the need for the software maintenance? The maintenance to repair the software faults, yes. Maintenance to adapt a software to different operating environment, yes. The maintain to add or modify the system's functionality. So these are the main basic, we can see the main basic needs of the doing the software maintenance. So maintenance to repair the software faults, then maintenance to adapt the software to a different operating system, and the maintenance to add to or modify the system's functionality, right? Then the optimal maintenance is nothing but the parameters often considered are the cost of failure. So it is the discipline which is concerned with the maintaining a system in a manner that maximizes the profit or minimizes the cost. So this is a kind, we can say, the nothing but the optimal maintenance. So this includes the cost of failure, the cost per time unit of downtime, the cost per time unit of the preventive maintenance, and the cost of the repairable system replacement. So this is actually not in our syllabus, but so this is the more important thing, we can say, the need for the software maintenance. So this was all about the software maintenance, why we require the software maintenance, and the types of software maintenance. Okay, so this was all about the software maintenance. So now the next topic is, that is the re-engineering. So we have done with the software maintenance. The next topic is the software re-engineering. So what exactly is the software re-engineering? So it is a process of software development which is done to improve the maintainability of the software system. So what does it mean again? So software engineering, re-engineering, is the examination and the alteration of a system to reconstitute it in a new form. So we are analyzing the system, we are examining the system to regenerate a new system. The process encompasses a combination of the sub processes such as reverse engineering, restructuring, redocumentation, and the forward engineering and the retargeting. So this is a kind of thing, we already have developed a software, but we want, let's say the software is, the particular website is developed in the PHP, but we want to develop web applications developed in the PHP, but we want to develop in a Python. So what exactly you want to do? You want to rewrite the code, you want to rewrite the system, you want to rewrite the whole software, right? So this is where the terms comes into the picture, re-engineering. So this process consists of different functions. That is, first one is the restructuring, we can say then reverse engineering, redocumentation, forward engineering, and the retargeting. So let's see one by one this. So why do we need the software re-engineering? It is a sometimes cost-effective option for the software system evaluation, applicable when some subsystem of a larger subsystem require frequent maintenance. Yes, as you know, the technologies are getting better and better. The speed, the performance, and the functionality increases. We want to add a more functionality. So rather to add a functionality in the older version, it is more cheaper to add a functionality into the newer version. The newer version will be much faster because it has the new technology, Python and all that, right? So we have taken the example of the PHP and the Python. So this is where the we can say the re-engineering is required, right? So the software re-engineering and the legacy system. The legacy systems are the old software systems which are essential for business process support. The software re-engineering is concerned with the re-implementing the legacy system to make them more maintainable. It may be the only viable way to ensure that the legacy system can continue in services, right? So we are rewriting the legacy system. Now advantages of the software re-engineering. The first one is to reduce the risk. As of the software is already existing, the risk is less. Yes, the once whole the process is done, requirement analysis, design done, we have just to rewrite the code, so risk is less. Yes, the cost is reduced because the cost of the re-engineering is significantly less than the cost of the developing the new software. Yes, that's fine, because the once is already developed, we just need to clone it, we just need to copy it into the new software. new technology. Now, steps involved in the software re-engineering. The first one is the source code translation. Then we have the reverse engineering. Then we have the program structure improvement. Then we have the program modularization. Then we have the data re-engineering. So let's go into the one by one. First one is a source code translation. It's a process of translating a source code from a one programming language to another. As I told you, we want to migrate the PHP into the Python. We have to understand the code of the PHP. Then we have to migrate that code into the Python. The translated language may be an updated version of original language. Yes, the necessity of the source level translation is hardware platform, staff skills. The staff should have the skill for the new technology, organizational policy, and the lack of the software support. Then we have the diagrammatic representation of this particular uh, process. First one is system to be regenerated, identifying the source code differences, then the design translator, then we have the automatic translation code, then we have the manual translate code, then we have the system re-engineer. So these are the softwares which will automatically translate into your one language to another language, but these are not more useful. The manual translation is more helpful, right? Then we have the first one is a source code translation, the second is a reverse engineering. So what actually the reverse engineering is, it is a process of analyzing the software with the objective of recovering its design and specification. The program itself is unchanged. The program is itself unchanged by the reverse engineering processes. The software source code is usually available as the result. See, we have the software development life cycle, right? From requirement, designing, implementing. Now what we are doing the reverse engineering. We are following the reverse manner. First we are going with the code. We are identifying the code, then design, then requirement, then code, then design, then requirement. So this is the kind of thing we are doing. We are doing the reverse manner engineering. Initially we are starting with the requirement. Now we are starting with the code, right? So this is nothing but the reverse engineering, right? The diagrammatic representation, system to be re-engineered, automated analysis, manual annotation, system information store, document generation, and the program structure diagrams, data structure diagrams, and the traceability matrix. So this is the kind of process of the software reverse engineering, right? Then we have the program structure, third phase, that is a program structure improvement. So the third is the program structure improvement. So what exactly it is? It is a process of improving the structure of the program to optimize the memory use and the lack of the understanding of the software engineering. Typically programs developed in this complex logic structure, as they are modified during the maintenance, new conditions and the associated actions are added without changing the existing control of the structure, right? So this is nothing but the diagrammatic representation of this point. Okay, so let's move ahead. So the final we can say the problems with the automatic program restructuring includes the loss of the comments, loss of the documentation, and the heavy computational demands. The fourth one, that is the program modularization. It is the process of reorganizing a program so that the related program parts are collected together and considered as a single module. Different type of modules may be created when the data abstraction, then the hardware modules and the function modules and the process support modules, right? Recovering the data abstraction. Okay, so this was the final thing, we can say the data re-engineering. So it is a process of analyzing and reorganizing the data structures in the system to make it a more understandable. So these are the different 5 phases. So data re-engineering, the terms of, let's say we are working on the data side, when we are working on the coding, it's like identifying the data structures and reconstructing the data structures from the existing data structures. So this is nothing but the data re-engineering, right? Yes, so these were the different 5 phases of the reverse engineering. That is the source code translation, translating from the one source to another. Then we have the reverse engineering, going with from the coding to the requirement. Then with the program structure improvement. So whatsoever the program structure we have into the previous version, we are migrating to the newer technology, newer language. So we will reconstruct the program. Then with the program modularization, we will develop a program. We will modularize the program into the multiple components, different components, right, into the newer version. And the final one, that is a data re-engineering. Yes, when we are doing the coding, we have the data structures. So we are redefining the data structure from the existing. We will take the reference from the existing code, but we will redefine the data structure so that, and the data structure should be a more we can say the reliable and the more faster. And so this was about this was all about the software re-engineering, which will consider the different parts. That is the source code translation, reverse engineering, program structure improvement, program modularization, and the data re-engineering. So now, uh, so now we have seen the reverse engineering, which actually the re-engineering, which will have the different parts, right? The reverse engineering and the data re-engineering and all that. Now, the next topic comes to the picture, that is a forward engineering. So we can say that the forward engineering is a method of creating or making an application with the help of given requirements. Forward engineering is also known as a renovation and the reclamation. So it's like the basic software development life cycle we have gone through, from the requirement gathering, then software design, then implementation, coding, and the final one is the maintenance, right? So this is nothing but exactly the we are following the forward engineering method, while in the case of reverse engineering, we already have the existing system, right? We are processing it and we are going back to the requirement, while in the case of forward engineering, from the system specification, from the requirement engineering, we are doing the design and implementation. Once the design and implementation is done, then we have the new system, while in the case of reverse engineering, we have the old system, we are working on that and creating the new system. So this is the difference between the forward engineering as well as the reverse engineering. Okay, so this was all about the software maintenance, why the maintenance is particularly required, what is the need of that, the type of maintenance we have, what is the need of the maintenance, the cost of the maintenance, right? Then we have seen the re-engineering, which will consist of the creating the new software from the existing piece of the software, that is nothing but. So now the next chapter is or the next topic is the change management, or we can say the software change management, or we can say the software configuration management. The short term supplied as a SCM, software configuration management, or we can say the change management, or we can say the SCM process. So let us move towards the topic. Okay. So, what exactly is the change management? So, it's also called as the software configuration management. The small term is a SCM. It is an umbrella activity that is applied throughout the software process. If you remember in the initial chapter, in the chapter first, we have seen all the umbrella activities, all the configuration management activities, which will be applied throughout the software process. We'll see again. Its goal is to maximize the productivity by minimizing the mistakes. Its goal is to maximizing the productivity by minimizing the mistake caused by the confusion when coordinating software development. So it might be possible that sometimes whatsoever the software you have developed, it will have the sum of the faults because of the coordination mismanagement. So the configuration management is to find that mistake and maximize the productivity. So SCM identifies, organizes, and controls the modifications to the software being built by the software development team. SCM activities are formulated to identify change, control change, ensure that the change is being properly implemented, and report changes to others who may have an interest. Right? Then, what is a change management exactly? The SCM is initiated when the project begins. SCM is initiated when the project begins and terminates when the software is taken out of the information. So when the SCM is started, the SCM is started when the project started, and when it is completed, when the project is done. And developers, project managers, software engineer, and the customers connected with the particular software. So the SCM differs from person to person. So for the project manager, the SCM is a auditing mechanism. For the SCM manager, it is a so for a SCM manager, a controlling it is a controlling, tracking, and the policy making mechanism. Yes. And for the software engineer, it's a changing, building, and the access control mechanism. And for the customer, it's a quality assurance and the product identification mechanism. So it SCM process differs from the person to person, or the for the all the stakeholders for the particular software project, right? Then the output of the what exactly the output of the software configuration process? The output from the software process makes up the software configuration. Okay, it's a computer programs, work products that describes the computer programs, and we can say the data. The okay, so this is about the software SCM. Now, what exactly the origin detected in a particular errors detected in the software needed to be corrected? New business or a market condition, or we have the new business or we can new change, new customer needs, the needs changes, and the reorganization or the business growth down, or we can say the reorganization or the business growth of cause change